what else is part of your wellness routine that's in stone?
Yep. So exercise, I'm pretty much always hitting a morning workout. I'll rest every couple weeks. I'll take a full rest day when my body's feeling beat up. I don't have them scheduled, but it is important, especially competing at a high level. You want to make sure that you can rest so that you can hit a workout on a key day hard enough to get the benefit from it. But
I think type A people can struggle with that.
I do. I struggle with it. Yeah. I mean,
but
if
you don't, you get injured.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you learn that lesson eventually.
Yeah. And, when you're competing at a high level in anything, you're just constantly riding that line of peak fitness and injury. And you want to stay just below it, but oftentimes you go above it, and that's when you get injured.
Speaking of head through the ceiling.
Exactly. That's a head through the ceiling moment right there.
Like, whoops.
Yep. So morning workout, most days I'm hitting a morning workout. I try to do my harder workout first. So this morning, for example, I did a pretty hard HYROX workout. It was
What's a HYROX?
Yeah, HYROX is a fairly new sport that was originated in Germany, and
Those Germans.
I know.
What are they up to?
It's so the two guys, they came from the Ironman world, and they crafted this race for the hybrid athlete, someone who enjoys running but also lifting.
Okay.
So strong but can run fast.
I'm
so
scared.
The race is 8,000 meters of running, which is 5 miles, broken into 1,000 meter intervals. They do this in a convention center of like a hotel.
Okay.
And then the infield is workout stations. And you run, then do a workout station. Run, do a workout station. The workout stations.
And then there's vomit stations.
And there's a vomit station for, those that may need to do that, which that does happen. The workout stations are 1,000 meter ski, heavy sled push, 50 meter sled push, 50 meter sled pull, 80 meters of burpee broad jumps, a 1,000 meter row, heavy farmer's carry, a heavy sandbag lunge, and then 100 wall balls to end it. So in between each of those, you're running 1,000 meters.
I think I understood most of those. What wall ball? What?
Wall balls it's a
sport
CrossFit
kids
movement.
Play?
Yeah, it's a CrossFit movement. It's where for men, it's a 20-pound ball, and you're throwing a ball up to a 10-foot target, catching it, squatting down, throwing it back up again.
Okay.
Yep.
That sounds painful.
So it's a really fun sport. It's about 60 to 90 minute time domain. So, it's long enough that you feel like you check the box if I did something long and hard today, but short enough that it's not daunting like an Ironman. So it's really attracted a lot of people. They're getting upwards of 15,000 people to compete at these on a weekend in the US, and overseas they'll get 30, 40,000 people over like a 7-day span. Every day is another wave of people going through it.
Jeez.
So that's what I'm competing in now.
This morning's workout?
Yeah, this morning's workout was
the hard one,
running and some of those movements. It was about a 50-minute workout at like zone 4 intensity, which for me is about a 150 heart rate, just sustaining that. My max heart rate now is about 165, so it hurt.
Is it going up?
It's not going up. My max heart rate is going down as I get older and
Darn,
more
that
aerobically
math
fit.
calculation
I
being
know.
right.
Bummer, right? I wish. My VO2 max has gone up over time, though.
What I'm curious. What's
68
your VO2?
right now.
68.
Yeah.
My goodness. What's your peak VO2? Do you know?
Is
that the peak?
That's
68?
the peak. Is 68.
Okay.
Yep.
Impressive.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. VO2 max, mitochondrial measurement, right?
Yep.
What are you using to measure your VO2?
I did it in a lab, with the mask.
Oh, the formal.
Yep,
formal.
on a bike.
Did you look at your Apple Health and see if it correlated at all? Because I
did.
know Aura gives you a VO2.
Yeah,
I know
65
Whoop does.
is what it says there. So it's pretty accurate.
That's impressive, especially for something that you didn't have to go to a lab and wear a mask and max out. And all
I
that.
found it's much more accurate if I'm running and biking a lot. If I'm doing more CrossFit, and I'm still very fit when I'm doing CrossFit, but I'm not biking or running as much, my VO2 max is not as accurate then. Like when I was doing more CrossFit 2 years ago, I was very fit, but I think it said my VO2 max was like 52. And then as I've ramped up my running and biking for the races I'm doing now, it's gotten more accurate. So I think it's heavily skewed based on, running and biking. That's where they're able to correlate it better.
Impressive. Well, just the fact that we can get a VO2 max at all right now from a device. So that goes back to one of the things I was mentioning before our podcast was we have patients all the time that they don't really care about their metrics. They don't really want to really do anything with their metrics. But we as physicians need to know, like, where are you at? Because people will tell us like, oh yeah, I exercise all the time. And oh yeah, I'm doing high intensity and all that. And we pull up their VO2 and it's like, are you though? Like, what does high intensity mean to you? Because a lot of times the answer that really sinks into the patient without shaming them necessarily is to tell them like, okay, I'm glad you're doing high intensity, but per your metric, you're not doing enough. So high intensity to you is not what your body needs. It needs even more. Or your nutrition is good, but for your body, it's too much. Your glucose is spiking. So I know you don't think that's too much sugar, but your body's telling you too much sugar. So what are some of the metrics you lean on? Obviously, heart rate is a big one. What are some of the metrics you nerd out over regularly?
Yeah, for me, I'm addicted to the training. So I'm more in the boat of what can I do to not overtrain.
Right.
So I'm looking at resting heart rate when I wake up in the morning. I'm looking at heart rate variability. I'm looking at quality of sleep. So some telltale signs for me are if my heart rate variability is really low. So let's say between 10 and 40, that means my nervous system is not very prepared to take on stress.
If what's your usual heart rate variability?
60 to 100 would be, I'm resilient. I'm ready to take on stress. Again, like if you're not training much, then your heart rate variability is generally going to be higher because you're able to take on stress. If you're training a lot, then you're often going to have lower scores because, you've taxed your nervous system. And then resting heart rate for me, it's 37 when here in Austin. 37. It's a little bit higher when I'm at elevation. But on a bad day, let's say that I trained really hard or did a 5-hour bike ride. The next day, it could be as high as 49 or 50. So that's when I know that my nervous system is not prepared to take on stress. If my resting heart rate is, much, much higher than that, high 30s where it normally is. And then sleep. I'm looking at REM sleep, deep sleep, 60 plus minutes of each. And I'm trying to get at least 8 hours of sleep every single night.